Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Video Clips. And I always start with some announcements. Remember, Dr. Scott Atlas is our keynote speaker at our conference this fall, November 12th through 14th. Don't miss it. He is a fascinating person, lots to talk about, and we will sell those tickets out, I'm pretty sure. I have two career conference calls coming up on Friday, April 30th this week at 2 p.m. Eastern, Tuesday, May 4th at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So those of you who are interested in professional development, which can mean I have no experience in healthcare, but I want to find out how to get into it, or I've been in healthcare for years, I don't like the direction it's going, and I'm hoping you can show me how to do something else, these calls are for you. And along that line, summer semester starts in June, which I know seems like it's awful far away, particularly since it's so cold out, but June will be here before you know it. And we will be offering the diet lifestyle course, biology, and children's health this summer. And the diet and lifestyle course, I just recommend it highly, even for lay people. It's a 15-module series that covers so much ground: women's health, men's health, children's health, vaccines, autoimmune diseases, gastrointestinal disorders, musculoskeletal health, mental health, etc. It's an overview course that really gives you a great view of healthcare from our perspective. And then, of course, happy hour starts next week. The Curious About COVID talks continue, and those are free for non-members. And Lose the COVID-25 and Health Lessons from COVID, those are member benefits along with happy hour. Happy hour is an hour during which we are just going to talk about good things in life, positivity, for 60 minutes every week, and send people off to the weekend with a better feeling than they had when they logged on. And I'll host the first couple, and then we're going to take turns after that. So that's what's going on in our world right now. And I want to talk about real people today, real people and the real person that we are, the real persons that we're dealing with out there. So I'm going to start with a Martin Luther King quote that goes like this: "The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy." I agree with Dr. King's statement, which is essentially that it's easy to be kind and generous and happy and optimistic when things are going well, but when they aren't, well, that's a different story for a lot of people, right? We're living through a very difficult situation, which in my experience tends to make people show their true colors. Maybe we could say they become more of what they already are. Some of you expressed some surprise that your family members and friends and coworkers have seemingly changed overnight. Trust me, these people did not change overnight. Whatever ugly traits that you're seeing right now, they were always there, kind of simmering below the surface. And then when this happened, they just became more of whatever that is. You know, but it's easy. If you turn the clock back to like a year ago, January, life was good. Financially, people were in good shape, most of them anyway, and we all could do almost anything we wanted. It's easy to be a happy clam and to be cheerful during those types of times. Now, however, it's a different story. The world's turned upside down, and the difficulties that this situation presents range from inconvenience, like, events are canceled, to something that's life-threatening, like suicide, increased risk of suicide, and lack of access to healthcare and business closures. There's a great deal of variability in the response to all of this, even among people who are experiencing exactly the same thing. And I think this is really telling. So some people are reaching deep down inside of themselves in spite of the stress and uncertainty, and they're becoming stronger than they ever imagined they could be. They're refusing to succumb to negativity. They're finding ways around any barrier that the situation puts in front of them, and they're living well, sometimes spectacularly well, in spite of the whole situation. These people are doing things like volunteering. They're joining our advocacy organization. They're spending more time with their children. They're checking in on their neighbors. They're donating food and money to charities, and finding some way to maintain a semblance of a social life and a normal life in spite of all of this. Then there are others in the same situation who are focused on anything and everything that is negative. They continue to watch and read the same stuff, acknowledging that it upsets them. They continue to call friends and families members who ask intrusive questions and pass judgment on them. They continue to patronize businesses that are unfriendly to them and attend events that are uncomfortable. And then they complain about all of it. And you know something, what I've noticed that these people are not newly nervous and negative. They were always this way, and this has just made them more this way. And the same is true with the judgmental, nasty, condescending, know-it-all people. They always had these attitudes, but controversy and stress has brought them out in full bloom. So you've been living with, I think, we all have been living with the mild version of the mindsets and behaviors that we're observing right now. And now we get to see the full-blown version. And as you've learned in some cases, it just hasn't been very pretty at all. So there are some lessons to learn here, starting with ourselves. I've looked at my own self during this last year and a half, and I've realized a few things that I've decided to work on. I'm a hyper-focused control freak perfectionist who likes consistency. Some of you already know that about me. For some of you, that might be new news. One day last year, I realized that my desire for consistency was insane. It was causing me to become anxious about really stupid things, such as making sure that I have the right paper towels and enough square boxes of Kleenex. I actually started buying large amounts of things to make sure I didn't run out. God forbid we change brands for anything around here. That just would not work, which is absolutely crazy. I've always been that way. I like things to be consistent. This whole crisis just made it on steroids like everything else. And I'm learning how to deal with uncertainty better by realizing that I can have faith that things are going to be okay without necessarily knowing exactly how they're going to be okay. And in spite of the nonsense, it's kind of shocking to me actually, I'm a little more relaxed than I used to be before this ever happened. So the first piece of advice, take this time to look inside yourself and figure out what you might want to change based on your thoughts and behavior during the last year when things were turned upside down and what was maybe a minor annoyance to you and other people around you has become full-blown awful, and you need to take a look at it. As for the damaged or severed relationships, a life well lived, in my opinion, is not lived with allowing people who don't have your back to get close to you and stay close to you. This doesn't mean that you excommunicate all of them permanently, but rather that you take into account their true character and respond accordingly. People who are condescending, and intrusive and mean and who do not respect you and the decisions you make clearly can't be counted on. I've talked about this before. My parents kind of fit that description. I didn't really excommunicate them permanently from my life, but they never had a key to my house, and I never gave them power of attorney over everything either, or anything either. So really start looking at your relationships and ask yourself, is this person that I keep interacting with, why am I doing that to myself? So take an inventory, this is my second piece of advice, of the people you associate with and decide who's really on your side in life. These are the relationships worth preserving, and the rest don't matter. It's been said that a human being is lucky to find 4 or 5 people during the entirety of their lives that are real friends. And my definition of a real friend is no matter what happens, they are there for you. Maybe after all this, you have 1 or 2 left, but unless you're 99 years old, you have plenty of time to meet some more people to add to the club. And it's better to have 1 or 2 quality relationships than 19 that cause you stress all the time. So what I'm saying here is to put all of this in perspective. Nothing that's going on right now is the end of the world. It's actually the beginning of a new phase in the world, in our own little microcosms and in the bigger world too. And sometimes seeing things clearly, both ourselves and others, is a very, very good thing. All right, as usual, pass this on to others who you think might enjoy learning a different perspective about all of this COVID stuff. And remember, I put out a newsletter on Monday and the forbidden videos on Tuesdays and on Wednesdays and Fridays, which I post in different platforms. So you have to subscribe to get this stuff. And if you're interested in any of the stuff we've talked about here or subscribing to those other resources, my email address is pampopper@msn.com. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back to you tomorrow with more news.